Okay, it's 4:15 on Wednesday, November 11th, 2015. I'd like to commence the November meeting, the Revere Conservation Commission. First item on the agenda is roll call. Member Vincent Lauria. Yeah. Member Joseph Lavalley. Yeah. Member Vincent Camerata. Yeah. Member Ann Raponi.
Here.
Member Jane Serboni. Here. Member Nick Molason is absent. And I'm Chairman Andrew DeSantis. Next item is the approval of the minutes of, I get September 2nd, but I believe it's supposed to read October 7th. Yeah, it's October 7th. And I get the September minutes. That's interesting. Motion by Member Vincent Camerata.
Second.
Second by Member Joseph Lavalley. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Voted in the affirmative. Next item is a public hearing notice of intent, 677 Revere Beach Boulevard for Howard Greenberg for a swimming pool installation. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make the motion to open the hearing.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Voted. Mr. DeLagro, are you going to speak on the proposed pool installation? Would you come up to the microphone and introduce yourself? And just explain size of the pool, where it is, that sort of thing, cost.
Can you hear me?
Yep, as long as the green light's on, we can hear you.
Oh, all right. This is a 14 by 26 pool that's only 4 feet deep, and it's really a play pool. But I don't know if you guys know me or not, or I've been around a long time, and I do good work. I just want just to know that.
I have full confidence in you, Cosmo.
You got any questions? Excuse me?
I got full confidence in you.
Oh, thank you.
Any questions for Mr. DeLagro? Mr. Camerata has a question.
Well, I'm saying Mr. Cosmo DeLegro's built most of the pools that we have at Revere, and I'm sure what he's going to do with that pool on the boulevard is going to be great for this. Another asset to the city of Revere and to the people who own that pool. Good luck, Cosmo.
Thank you, Benny.
Any other questions for Mr. DeLagro? We have a motion to close the public hearing, issue an order of conditions that I
I so
prepared.
move, Mr. Chairman. Do we?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Voted. Thanks, Cos.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
Take it easy, Cos.
Yeah, let me know when you need the billing certificate signed off, and, okay? Yes, or I can just send Benny an email. Okay, call me. All right,
Take
Cosmo.
it easy, guy. Will you wish you an order of
You go, Vincent.
Thanks, Andy.
Next item on the agenda is a public hearing notice of intent, City of Revere, restoration of Eastern County ditch between Agawam Street and Revere Street. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in, second by Joseph Lavalley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Voted. Hi, Katie. You going to present?
Yes.
Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Catherine Cruz. I am a civil engineer from Hancock Associates. to present the proposed modifications to the Eastern County ditch. The ditch is located behind the Waterfront Square project from Revere Street to the MBTA parking lot on North Shore Road. The purpose of the project is to increase the flood storage capacity of the ditch. So we will be removing earth material from the ditch, about 7,000 cubic yards. We won't be lowering the elevation of
Makes
the
sense.
ditch. We'll just be pulling back the eastern bank. The existing ditch is mostly planted with invasive species, which will be removed, and native species will be planted within the ditch. Can you hear me okay now? Okay. So just to reiterate, the purpose of the project is to increase the flood storage capacity of the Eastern County ditch, which is located behind the Waterfront Square project. So we will be removing earth material to create more volume for flood storage water.
Just, if you wouldn't mind repeating the invasive species removal, there'll be replanting of native vegetation. What type of vegetation are the plantings?
Yep, we will be replanting it with some various seed mixes. In the lower elevations, there will be seed mixes intended to be underwater for a portion of the time, and at the upper elevations, there will be wildflower mixes, along with some shrubs and trees.
And how many linear feet of the ditch total, and how many, what would be the increased flood storage capacity that you anticipate?
So we're altering about 1,000 linear feet of the ditch, and the flood storage capacity will be increased by about 180,000 cubic feet.
Excuse me, one question on the maintenance and repair work that has to be done. I know it was listed in here, but you people will maintain the property the way it's supposed to be maintained? Am I on the right
Yeah,
question?
Donnie my understanding is they're gonna do the work, Mr. Camerata, but it's gonna be up to the city to maintain it.
Right,
It's
okay.
also my understanding that you're not actually removing anything from the ditch proper,
Correct.
just the land adjacent to the ditch,
Yeah, they're gonna be
lowering
taking,
that by about 6 feet.
they'll be taking the eastern bank of the Eastern County ditch and rolling it back. Obviously, this will increase stormwater capacity for, low-level storms, but also helps us access the creek in order to do the proper maintenance that we need to do. It's a very difficult access at this point. This program is gonna make it so much easier for us to maintain, get in and out of there, so that we can reduce the flood impacts on the lower end of Revere Street, Sagamore area. And then hopefully, once we get that done, I think Katie's already referred to the plantings, everything. What our real plan is to reintroduce salt water up into that area to try to restore the salt marsh to the best we can to its normal state.
Thank you, Donnie. That's all in here too, Donnie, I'm sorry.
Donnie, where's the city's access going to be?
It'll be coming through the properties from Vanguard. There's a pathway coming right there. And once we get through, we'll be able to transverse the entire ditch.
Between the buildings?
Yes,
You
yes.
know what we walked through on the site visit? Yep. Between the Covington property and between the Plum House, I think it's Plum
Yes,
House, isn't it?
yes.
Yeah. Property, and if you look at the plan, sheet. On sheet C2. And almost to the left of the page where the electrical lines, the far left of the page where the electrical lines are, isn't that where the access is?
Page 2. Massachusetts Electrical, right?
You'll get in between the buildings. Well, they'll be coming in from Ocean Ave. If you look at that page C2, and you see Massachusetts Transportation Authority. And then to the right of that, you see water easement. That's your path in. And then you can drive down and get a little further in by where Mass Electric has their lines. No, National Grid, whatever they're called.
So who's going to be responsible for the ditch maintenance? Because, right, in order to restore the salt marsh, you have to have it at a certain elevation, maintain that elevation to, so invasive species don't re-infiltrate in the area. And is Eurovest going to be doing any of the maintenance, or is the city Revere?
Once they're done, we'll be taking over this project.
All right, all right.
Revere City, obviously, we're looking to get some help from the state and the various local state agencies, because it's not Revere's ditch, it's a county ditch. And county government no longer, exists, but the MDC, DCR, Mass DOT, they all contribute to these estuaries with various, sands and
Well, not
stuff
MDC,
from the roads.
but,
Yeah, them to DCR, the old.
DCR, yeah.
The old MDC. And so we're gonna be looking to them for some help in mitigating the disposal of the materials. But in any event, this really needs to be done, because this can impact way up the line. This water will be coming down all the way from the
Right, that's why I'm-
Shirley Ave areas.
absolutely.
It has a great impact. And we're also able to, with our new self-regulating tide gates and sluice gate, be able to change the elevations to get the water up into the marsh to the levels that are acceptable to us in DEP and EPA. And then we also have the ability to shut it down during anticipated storm events or major events to create additional compensatory storage during the off-tide cycle.
That's why I'm asking, Don, is because DCR, if there could be some agreement with the city and DCR, they have a depot right there on Ocean Ave. It would seem like that they should be able to contribute in some way. They have jurisdiction over Ocean Ave in some regards, correct?
Yeah, they do, but the thing that we're looking for is basically a monetary contribution from them.
I see.
Because our history with them is that, if we don't do it, it won't get done. And obviously, they're a large state agency. We're running into various issues throughout the community, because there are 3 large county ditches within the city that are creating similar problems. But this one right now, behind Eurovest, is so impacted with phragmites and things of this nature. This project is actually going to make it so much easier for us to gain access to it in order to excavate the culvert out to the point where we can get the salt water up there on a daily basis, and over a time period of X amount of years, hopefully we'll be able to eliminate the phragmites altogether and not have to worry about the ditch getting impacted by this vegetation.
And we think we can negotiate a letter of intent with DCR to issue funding for that on an
Well,
annual
we-
basis, or was it like a one-time?
This is going to have to be negotiated. We've already contacted our state delegation. We do have future plans to meet and sit with them and see if we can get into the state budget on an annual basis.
Thank you.
It sounds like a lot of material is going to be pulled out of there. Did I hear right, 181,000 cubic feet of material?
7,000 cubic yards.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
7 to 10,000 ton.
And then, once you get into the culvert itself, I would say you're going to have hundreds of tons of debris that are going to be coming out of there. Between construction material that's probably been there from the old illegal dumping over the years because of easy access to Ocean Avenue, the phragmites that's been just growing and regrowing and dying in their shopping carts, tires, you name it, that is pretty well plugged up right now. We actually use pumps. in
Have
that
you
area.
identified a place where the material could go, Donnie?
I do have a contract that I do have. The problem is, you've got to get it out and test it, because
Yeah.
certain material goes to certain areas. Now, that's going to be a hurdle for us to get over. Like you said, if we had a
The
local.
city's paying for that?
We have been, yes. And
Wow.
it's
Yeah,
quite
'cause,
expensive.
Oh, I know, I'm running into the same problem, getting rid of material. If you can get rid of it
You got-
for 100 a ton, you're lucky.
Right.
You're gonna have to stockpile it. You're not gonna be able to live load it if you have to test it first. You just said illegal dumping and whatnot, so it's gonna have to be
I'm gonna talk
stockpiled.
with State Agency. Maybe we can get in there and do some borings to find out
That's-
exactly what's
yeah.
on certain areas.
At least
of
You
the-
may be able to
test
get
pits,
away
yeah.
with
Because
that.
I do expect that it's gonna be different, depending on where we're at. Information I've already received from Eurovest has been very helpful in determining, where the transformers were along the national grid line.
Yeah,
If
that's gonna be the
If they're
worst of the
finding it on the upland
PCBs.
portion, obviously, it's probably washed down into that part of the culvert as well. So they're sharing information with us. We're gonna need to get, another testing company, a soil maintenance company is going, maybe like Western and Sampson or CDM or somebody to go in there and do some core sampling for us at various points along. So maybe if there aren't areas that are contaminated, we can just live load it and get it out of it, get it up to Resco or get it, but I do anticipate there being some material issues with the debris.
Were you speaking to the mic, Katie?
A pre-characterization has been done by Weston and Sampson for this work already.
And what has been found there?
Um, I don't know the exact details, but we could provide that.
Yeah, can you just find out for us whether it can go to as daily cover at a landfill, or what they anticipate for the volume of material that needs to be disposed off-site, and maybe it can be used as asphalt remix or daily cover material.
Our experience on the upper end, up where Wonderland that we've experienced, is you're gonna have a variety of, some of it will be able to go right over to Resco and be burnt. Some of the fragmati, some of it will have
Yeah,
to go
vegetative material.
to, a lined landfill. Some of it will have to go to a very hazardous landfill. So it varies, and that's why the sampling has to.
Oh,
take
yeah,
place.
you would know
Yeah.
that by the pre-characterization, though, if you had hazardous, anything that was
Well,
above.
Sometimes you get a surprise.
You get a hot spot.
You start digging, and all of a sudden, they've done all their due diligence to do test borings and stuff, and all of a sudden you pick a scoop out, and you found a barrel of asphalt that's been sitting just in this small little area. So sometimes it's not an exact science on.
No, it's
on
not at
trying
all.
to figure this stuff out. So it's hard to hold people to a hard number, as long as they've done their due diligence to determine.
My point is that would be a different reportable condition than what's there now.
Well, it would be, but you wouldn't know about it until you found it under the terms, you did your surveys.
No, I know, I'm familiar with the process, I really am, surprisingly enough, but I'm just curious, what do they anticipate now as far as disposal off-site, based on the pre-characterization that's been done thus far?
I think it's gonna be very mixed use. I think you're gonna have hot spots that are very, very hot, because obviously you're running along the national grid zone line, plus you had the transformers that they stockpiled in this area back in the day. They contained PCBs and things of this nature. So you're gonna have probably small, hot spots. Other areas, it's probably gonna be completely clean. In other areas, it's gonna be, so-so. Obviously, in conditions like this, we're gonna most likely find a lot of arsenic in the material, just through natural as well as unnatural causes. Probably some metals because of the MBTA operating there over the course of time. But that's gonna be determined. I think the culvert itself is gonna be a bigger issue than the land that's sitting here right now, because anything that's upland is gonna wash into that culvert over the years, because it just has been.
I mean, what is it, 7,000 cubic yards of soil? That's a lot of soil.
Yeah. And
That's
so
a
the
huge
point
amount
being
of
is-
soil. That's what I'm saying, that the
For us-
cost can escalate
Oh, yes.
extremely if you don't know what's there now, and you're
Correct.
just kind of saying, we're not really quite sure what's there.
But
We're
this-
gonna see when we start digging, that cost can increase exponentially, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no doubt. But this project here is separate from what we'll have to deal with in the future, because this is actually gonna give us access to this creek so that we
Yeah.
can determine and pull out and do the testing. This is the first step. The second step is solely on the city. This really has nothing to do with.
Yeah, that's what I was
This is-
wondering, whether
yeah.
it's on the developer's dime or the city's dime.
Well,
It's
presently.
going to be on the city's dime, that's what I'm
What they're
hearing.
doing presently, they're taken care of, but once we accept it when they're done, now it's on
Then
us.
yours, anything further.
Right,
Yeah,
so
or the rest
anything
of
in the
culverts.
culvert is gonna be on the city. And that's probably a good portion of what's gonna need to take place there as far as the mitigation process takes place. Because it's packed. If the culvert is packed and it needs to be dredged, it will go a long way in eliminating a lot of problems we have upstream from that area. Yes.
Mr. Camerata, put your
Yes.
mic on, thank you. Put it on, Vincent. Vincent, put your mic on, Vince.
The stormwater, this description is pretty well spelled out here. Could you just tell us a little about the stormwater problem?
Well,
Did you already,
Katie or John Dick
Yeah.
can speak to that, they're the
they
designers.
didn't speak to it, but I can just give you from a layman's standpoint about, the problems upstream from this area, the Sagamore area, the Wonderland area, and under large conditions, it goes far back as Beach Street, Shirley Ave, sections of the city. It's, it's the eastern, they call it the Eastern County Ditch because it's the eastern portion of the city. You have Ocean Avenue, American Legion Highway, there's all kinds of runoff water coming in, people with sump pumps, it's a large area that, and it's very, very important that we get this resolved, because this has been a historical problem, and it's gonna relieve a lot of the problems on the lower Revere Street and the back end of Revere Street. And we've got almost all the way up to Revere Street on the opposite side, and enough salt water going in and out of there that we haven't had to go back in and re-excavate that culvert probably for the last 10 years, Frank? Up to that point. So that saltwater introduction does work. So we want to get it from that. We got the upper reaches in Wonderland. It's starting to come back a little bit because we can't get that salt water up there because this portion is plugged and we're not getting the flush all the way up towards the Wonderland dog track site. So once this done, I would say within a short period of time, the flooding conditions will greatly improve in the Revere Street area, the Ocean Ave area, Oak Island
Yeah,
area.
so they're still doing the dance between letting the salt water in
Exactly,
and
yes. Yeah, yeah.
letting the
So that's,
rainwater out.
right, exactly. But with the new gates that we have now and the way we're able to control it, Andy, and the city has bought large pumps that we actually use the pumps, the self-regulating tire gates have a sump in them. So we put an 8-inch pump in there and we pump
Pump it.
and we pump and we pump and we pump. And once we get this in here, I think we'll almost virtually eliminate all types of flooding except under extreme conditions.
thanks, Donnie.
Thanks.
Anything else? Anybody in the audience would like to speak on this project? I've written an order of conditions. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing and issue?
I'll motion to close and issue an order of conditions.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Voted in the affirmative. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public hearing notice of intent, 52 Elliott Road, 52 Elliott Road Realty Trust, construction of new one-family house. Paul, would you motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
All those in favor? Vote in the affirmative. Paul, introduce yourself. The
Good
floor is
afternoon,
yours.
Paul Finocchio, PGF and Associates, here on behalf of 52 Elliott Road Realty Trust and Louis Padova, trustee. The owners of the property are proposing to construct a single-family dwelling, which is a 20 by 46 dwelling on lot 54, which is on Elliott Road, about 150 some odd feet from Curtis Street. The property is located within the 100-year floodplain according to FEMA maps. And the new maps that will be coming out in March of 2016 put the flood elevation in that area at elevation 11. The existing grade at the site is elevation 4. We are proposing to have the top of the foundation set at elevation 11.8 with the finished floor at 13. There'll be no change in grade on the site. There'll be a stone driveway being installed on the right-hand side, and the 6 open foundation flood openings in the foundation, 2 on either side, one in
Thank
the
you.
front, one in the back. That detail is on the plans that were submitted in this afternoon. And that the opening of the foundations will be there at grade level, and it'll be either a stone base or a pervious concrete in the, underneath the dwelling.
Any questions for Mr. Finocchio? Yeah, Mr. Catazzoni also mentioned that he might like to use pervious concrete for the driveways, so, you know, provide details on that if that's what you're planning on doing. Any questions? Comments? Anybody? We have a motion to close the public hearing?
Hearing
An issue? I prepared an
And
order.
issue your order of contempt or intent of conditions.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Voted in the affirmative. Excuse me, I should have called on you. Would you like to speak?
Yeah, on this matter here.
Yes.
My name is Mario Bernardo. I live in 33 Curtis Road.
Let me get your name again.
My name again, Mario Bernardo.
Mario?
D'Amato, D-A-M-A-T-O.
Okay.
My backyard and where the house is going meet, and there's twice a year we get water there. And the only way for that water to dissipate, you have to wait till the ground sucks it up. There's no way to drain it. Now, I live on a house with on a slab. It ain't that much high up. And when we have an inch of rain or more, the water comes all the way up to the foundation. And I gotta wait 2 or 3 days till it settles in. And it happens every twice a year, the spring and the fall. Now, it's dry now because we haven't had any rain. We're 8 inches behind. But last year, all that snow we had, when the mill had to wait a long time for the ice to even go away after it froze up. So the only thing I'm wondering about, how it's gonna drain. If he's gonna fill it, make it high, it's gonna be worse. It's gonna come all towards my house, you understand what I'm saying? So when they built that house there, I wonder how the drainage is gonna be, because the fellow that lived there before had a garden there, he grew everything, there's apple trees.
Yeah, they're still there. I saw the fruit trees. Gene point them out.
That
Yeah,
helped
fig tree.
suck up most of the stuff, the water, so I don't know what he's gonna put there now, where the water's gonna go. Because it's a lot of tree, backyards meet there, and that back of his house is the lowest spot. Once that fills, then it starts spreading to the left and the right, you know. I don't know how they're gonna do drain that.
As the surveyor said, there, in flood areas, you gotta build a foundation that has openings in it to let the water flow through the foundation. And the inside of that foundation cannot be hard concrete. It either has to be crushed stone or concrete that's made in such a way it lets water soak through it. Same thing with the driveway. You can't have impervious pavement. You can't have pavement, it's either got to be crushed stone driveway, or it's got to be pavement, either cement concrete or bituminous concrete, or paving blocks with sand joints that allows the water to infiltrate through it, so the water can still infiltrate into the ground.
Yeah, my point was, all that grass he has there now was sucking up some of the water. Now you put a house there with a roof and all that water runs off.
You're going to get a rate of
Right,
runoff
it'll be worse,
faster.
better, but
That's right.
I'm not for or against, I'm just wondering how, you know, what's gonna happen. I don't want my house to be flooded.
The only thing we can do with the roof is ask him if he'd put infiltration units in where the downspouts are for the roof.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they could get the water to go towards Elliott Road instead of the back. There's no way to drain the back out. 5 yards meet in the back.
Gene, would you come up, introduce yourself, and speak to this gentleman's concerns?
My name is Eugene Catazzone, trustee for 52 Elliott Road Trust. I'm not going to take any of the fruit trees in the backyard that don't need to be taken down. And as far as water infiltration, I can pitch the gutters from the back of the house to the front of the house, so only the runoff goes towards Elliott Road. And that would go into the front, the 16 feet setback, and then into Elliott Road proper. So any of the roof runoff now wouldn't end up on the property, but would end towards the front of the property with the runoff with the gutters. And hopefully that would solve any standing water issues there.
Okay,
We have dug in the area to do the waters and sewers, and it is a silty clay mix, and it drains really, really well. But I don't know about what the back of the property is, but I don't have the heart to take down those fruit trees. So that's what I'm planning on doing there.
okay. Any other questions, sir?
For 42 years I've been putting up with this. I just don't want to get any worse. I never complained. Wasn't their fault, that's where the place was. But it's like I said, it comes up to the house and then it retreats. I just don't want it to be worse.
You don't want to get it in the house, for
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
So,
You said you're
just
slab
whatever
on
they want,
grade, yeah.
Whatever they do, as long as they don't make it worse. Not that I don't want no water at all, it's not their problem. But I don't want it to make, worse, so I get more water. As long as that takes care of it.
Okay, so he's willing to do things, and I think it's the will of this board to grant him the permission to build it.
Yeah, well, that's where the grounds are, and it's a low spot, everybody knows that. The
So-
gas company can dig it for 10, 20 years. They go 2 feet down in water.
In water. Well, that's all filled land there, it's,
It's a marsh.
yeah, it was a marsh at one time.
So that's all I was interested in.
Member Savon?
No, I was just gonna say, it sounds like he's gonna pitch the roof drainage to Elliott Road, so, I think that's the best he can do really under these circumstances, or, perhaps, as mentioned, he could have the roof drains discharged directly, into an infiltration point, but I don't think that's really necessary,
Yeah, I think it's better to shoot it to the,
especially if the water table's high, it's just
Yeah,
gonna
it's
come
just
right out
gonna
of the
add to
ground
it.
anyway.
Member Raponi?
Yes, to repeat what Member Triboni is saying, he spoke my words here, and as long as they're willing to accommodate you, to make certain conditions better for you, I don't see where we have a problem.
Don't get worse.
You just give it a chance. You really have to give it a chance. As long as they're willing to accommodate you, I would suggest that you just be patient and maybe things will work out for you.
And we'll do an inspection before we sign off on the property for sale. Because it's an investment piece of property. Gene's not going to live there. He's not claiming that.
So we can build that into the order of conditions, right?
Yes, we can.
Follow-up site visit.
Yep. What's your address, sir? What's your address? 33 Curtis Road. All right, I'll send you a notice when we conduct the site visit, so you can be there. You're welcome. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. You didn't want to say anything, Carmen, did you?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Vincent Camerata, seconded by Member Ann Raponi. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Voted. Thank you. Here you go, Vincent. Next item is a request for a certificate of compliance. Is a vote. This is a certificate of compliance for work by Michael Colleclia at 20 Arcadia Street. We did a site visit there, Nick Melanson, Joseph LaValle, and myself on this past Saturday. And we verified that they had put the vents in as they should. So I would entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No voting.
And I know Vincent wanted to say something about St. Mary's Park. We've got plenty of time, Vincent, so You want to make some comments about the project at St. Mary's Park? Why don't you go ahead and do that?
Okay, thank you, Andy. This is it's a small report on the progress in St. Mary's ballparks. It's, number one, they cleaned tons of debris buried in the area. And I've got these in chronology as much as possible. Number two, they cut overgrown trees and weeds. 3, loam being set 8 inches to bring up the grade. This is what this, it's in the prints, but this is what they're saying too. Grass seed will be placed in certain areas. Sod will be placed in all the playing fields. The lighting poles have already been installed, and they're still working on the lighting. And they want the lighting to project just on the field, because the people complain about the lighting here in their houses. So the poles are so high now, Andy, and the lighting is all forced down, painted down, forced down.
I sat at that side. Excuse me?
Just a quick summary, Andy, I tried my best.
Okay, very good, Vinnie. Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.